Hey there pilots, this is Dauntless Sam, and today we'll be looking at the Boeing P-26 Peashooter. Between the late 1920s and the late 1930s, the world's aircraft constructors and air forces made a technical transition greater than any that has happened before or since. From simple fabric-covered machines identical in form to those that fought World War I, designers moved on to all-metal monoplanes, which eventually had stressed skins instead of bracing wires and struts, and incorporated such new features such as retractable landing gear, flaps, and variable pitch propellers. The Boeing P-26 Peashooter was the first American all-metal production fighter aircraft, and the first pursuit monoplane used by the United States Army Air Corps. Designed and built by Boeing, the prototype first flew in 1932, and the type was still in use with the U.S. Army Air Corps as late as 1941 in the Philippines. The project, funded by Boeing to produce the Boeing Model 248, began in September 1931, with the Army Air Corps supplying the engines and the instruments. The design, which included an open cockpit, fixed landing gear, and externally braced wings, was the last such design procured by the United States Army Air Corps as a fighter aircraft. The Model 248 had a high landing speed, which caused a number of accidents. To remedy this, flaps were fitted to reduce the landing speed. The Army Air Corps ordered 3 prototypes, designated XP-936, with the first flight on March 20, 1932. The Boeing XP-936 was still tricky to land. Sometimes, because of its short nose, it tended to roll onto its back and would flip forward, injuring a number of pilots. The prototype's unarmored headrest offered virtually no protection in such instances. As a result, production Model 266s, the P-26A, had a taller, armored headrest installed. 2 fighters were completed as the P-26B, with a fuel-injected Pratt & Whitney R1340-33 engine. These were followed by 23 P-26Cs, with carbureted R1340-33s and modified fuel systems. Both the Spanish Air Force and the Republic of China Air Force ordered examples of the Model 281 version of the P-26C in 1936. The diminutive Peashooter, as it became affectionately known by the service pilots, was faster than previous American combat aircraft. Nonetheless, due to the rapid progress in aviation design in the 1930s, its design quickly became obsolete, with its wire-braced wings, fixed landing gear, and open cockpit representing outdated design features. The Curtiss P-36, Messerschmitt Bf-109, and Hawker Hurricane, with enclosed cockpits, retractable landing gear, and metal wings, all flew for the first time in 1935, just 3 years later than the P-26. However, the P-26 was easy to fly, and it remained in service until the U.S. entered World War II. The first Boeing P-26 to experience major combat operation was the Chinese Model 281. On August 15, 1937, 8 P-26s from the Chinese Nationalist Air Force engaged 8 out of 20 Mitsubishi G3M Nell medium bombers from the Kisarazu Air Group sent to attack Nanking. The Chinese Boeing fighters helped to shoot down 2 of the 4 Japanese bombers destroyed that day without suffering any losses. Subsequent engagements between the Chinese Peashooter pilots and pilots of the Imperial Japanese Navy flying the Mitsubishi A5M Claudes were the first aerial dogfights and kills between all-metal monoplane fighter aircraft. A single P-26 was in service with the Spanish Republican Air Force during the Spanish Civil War of 1936 to 1939, but no aerial kills were recorded with this fighter aircraft, as it itself was shot down in 1936. By December 1941, U.S. fighter strength in the Philippines included 28 P-26s, 12 of which were operational with the 6th Pursuit Squadron of the Philippine Army Air Corps. Filipino-flown P-26s claimed 1 G3M and 2 or 3 Mitsubishi A6 M20s, before the last of the P-26s were burned by their crews on December 24, 1941. The P-26 was the last Boeing Company fighter aircraft to enter service until Boeing acquired McDonnell Douglas with production and continuing support contracts for the Boeing FA-18EF Super Hornet in 2002. Between those aircraft, Boeing did produce the experimental XF-8B in 1944, as well as the prototype YF-22 in 1991. In War Thunder, there are 3 variants of the P-26 provided as reserve aircraft. These are the P-26A, the P-26A-34 Mark II, and the P-26B-35. All 3 aircraft have the same flight characteristics. While flying out in these aircraft, it is important to remember that you are not as maneuverable as a biplane, and that you should never get into a turn fight with one. Try to boom and zoom these biplanes instead. Remember that you have almost no armor, and your engine and wings are particularly fragile. Both the P-26A and the P-26B-35 have dual 30 caliber guns that have difficulty penetrating anything with armor. The P-26A Mark II, on the other hand, has one 30 caliber gun and one 50 caliber gun that provide slightly more firepower. The Mark II is also equipped with landing flaps that can be used to bleed off extra speed and make tighter turns. All 3 reserve aircraft can be loaded out with 2 100-pound bombs. None of these aircraft are particularly powerful, but when used effectively, can be a very difficult target to hit. I hope that this information has proved helpful. If you liked the video, please do like the video. If you would like to see more videos like this, feel free to subscribe to the channel, and if you think anyone else would be interested in this video, don't be afraid to share it. This is Dauntless Sam. Thanks for watching.